What is up, everyone, and welcome to the MMA Take Podcast, episode number 3. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and in today's episode, we will be breaking down UFC 224 and Bellator 199. They are both going down this weekend, and obviously, as always, at the end of the show, we'll be recapping any news and any fights that have been announced recently. And yeah, that is the show. So before I crack on, I want to say, obviously, wherever you're watching this or wherever you're listening to this, whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening to it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever, give us some feedback if you're enjoying the show. Leave me a comment or give me a tweet at the MMA Take. I finally got that right for once. Yeah. Nevertheless, wherever you're watching or listening to this too, in the description of the podcast, everything will be in there, and everything will be everything you need to know and watch, and any way you want to get involved, it's all in the description down below. And one last little thing on the YouTube channel, so much fucking UFC 3 stuff's going on there. We've got career modes, ultimate team, pack openings, live events, everything. So if you want to go check out more of that shit, I pretty much post every day. So go check out the YouTube channel. That is, again, the MMA Take Podcast. And again, that'll be in the description down below. But enough of me chatting shit. Let's get down to UFC 224. That goes down Saturday, May 12th, 2018, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm not even Brazilian, but I'm pretty proud of that enunciation. Obviously, the headline being Nunes versus Pennington, for the women's bantamweight title. And holy shit, you know what, to be fair, this is a nice card. Main event wise, yeah, like, I'm looking at the Fight Pass and I'm seeing Alexio Linik, I'm seeing, that's it. I'm only seeing one other person that I recognise, and you know, the early prelims and the Fight Pass prelims are not the best, but this main card is phenomenal. We'll go top to bottom. We'll go bottom to top. Sorry. So, kicking off the fucking main event, you have the legends fighting. Vitor Belfort going against Lyoto Machida, and oh my god, I am so looking forward to this fight. Like seriously looking forward to this fight. Vitor coming off, a bit of a rocky. He of recent he only has like 2 fights a year. So in 2015 he had 2 fights, 2016 he had 2 fights, and then 2017 he had 2 fights. So last year he had a no contest against Kevin Gastelum, and a win against Nate Marquardt. The win against Nate Marquardt was in June, so middle of the year. That was a decision win, and then the no contest. I can't fucking talk, which helps if you have a fucking podcast. But never mind. The Kevin Gastelum fight. I believe originally that was it was in March, but I'm sure he lost that fight. I'm sure Kevin Gastelum beat Vitor Belfort that fight. I don't know. I can't remember if it was by TKO or a decision, but I'm confident. I know for a fact that Kevin won that fight, but I believe it was overturned because of Kevin Gastelum getting done for marijuana, I believe. So annoying, as always. And then in 2016 he had 2 losses, one to Gegard Mousasi and one to Ronaldo Jacare Souza. So 2 beasts. I don't know. And the thing about this fight is that Vitor has been going and said it very publicly that this is 100% his last fight, and I don't know, because obviously Lyoto Machida's only just come back. In 2017 he had 1 fight against Derek Brunson and he lost that, and then he fought earlier this year in February against Eric Anders, and that was it was a main event, but it was a split decision. So and it doesn't help when the last 3 previous fights before the Eric Anders fight Two of them in 2015 and one in 2017. And they were all losses. Two TKO losses to Derek Brunson and Yoel Romero, and then a submission by Luke Rockhold. Pretty fucking tough. But to be fair, Lyoto Machida, just looking at his record, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, the people that he's fought, just Mauricio Shogun Hua, Rampage Jackson, Randy Couture, John Jones, Ryan Bader, Dan Henderson, Phil Davis, Mark Munoz, Gegard Mousasi, Chris Weidman, CB Dollaway, Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero, even to an extent Derek Brunson, are all top 5, top of the food chain, level fighters. Obviously, both of these fighters are past their prime. I really don't know for this fight. I feel like only for the sake of I think only for the sake of Vitor going and saying that it is 100% his last fight, I think I have to go with a Vitor win. Will anyone get knocked out? Probably. I think, you know what, to be fair, you're probably looking at a knockout win for Vitor, so give it 2 rounds. I think it'll go 2 rounds and Vitor will get the knockout win in the second, so that's how I predict that one. Next fight we have is a absolute beast of a bantamweight fight. Like, honestly, this fight is ridiculous. We have John Lineker going against Brian Kelleher. This is gonna be potentially could be fight. Then there's some big fucking fights on this card, but this could, if this goes all 3 rounds, this could very, very, very easily become fight of the night. Just, it has fight of the night written all over it. John Lineker, one of the bantamweight division's just absolute standout names. He's 30-8. Looking here, he's got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's lost 1 out of his last 8. That last loss coming in 2016 at the end of 2016, on the end of the year December card, and that was a loss to TJ Dillashaw. That was a decision loss though. And then his most recent fight was again after that TJ Dillashaw fight, which is against Marlon Vera, who is a brilliant fighter in his own right. And that was in October, the end of October. So a bit of a layoff. I know that was it. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. I want to say that it was targeted for the December card just gone. That it was going to be Lineker versus Dominic Cruz. Yeah, I'm sure it was. It was meant to be Lineker versus Cruz, but Cruz had to pull out. So he hasn't really had a fight for a while. You're looking at end of October and early May now. A bit of a layoff. And then compared to Brian Kelleher, okay record, I suppose. 19-8. So not the best, but not the worst. But he's only really getting this opportunity because of that the unanimous decision win against Renan Barao on Emmett versus Stevens, which was like end of February time. So the reason that Brian Kelleher's getting this fight is because of that big win against Renan Barao. Personally, and this is no disrespect to Renan Barao, but that's just Renan Barao. Like, he's not the same Renan Barao of however many years ago. It's just not. I honestly feel that this fight, John Lineker's just a beast, and he's been a beast for so long in his career. He just always will be. He never shows signs of weakness or signs of slowing down with age. He just seems to be getting a better, or if not at the same. He's the same. So honestly, I feel like this will be a John Lineker win. A decision most likely, just because these bantamweight fights normally goes to decision. It'll be a cracking fight because that Renan Barao fight with Brian Kelleher, Renan Barao fight was fantastic. So, Brian is a fantastic fighter in his own right, but I just feel like this is just a bit too big of a step up for him. You know, you never know. He could prove me wrong, but he does get. You know what? He's had 8 losses. No, he's never been knocked out. But of the 8 losses, 5 of them are submissions. John Lineker is okay at submissions. I want to say. I know he obviously his hands are pretty good, but when it comes to taking people down, you know, he's got what? He's got okay, four submission wins, which isn't a lot compared to he's won 30 fights. But no, he is, you know, he's not too bad on the floor. You know, but potentially if I see this fight, honestly, if I see this fight being finished, it'll be a knockout in the late rounds. If not, honestly, and what I personally believe, it's going to be a John Lineker win via decision. I just don't see Brian Kelleher beating like John Lineker in any form, whether it's stand up or on the ground. I just don't see him beating him in any of those areas. And the next fight we have is Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Cooper. Amanda Cooper with a record of 3-3, and obviously Mackenzie Dern being undefeated. This again is going to be in the strawweight division, yeah. So strawweight division. Looking forward to this. To be fair, I remember I saw Mackenzie Dern's her UFC debut against Ashley Yoder, and you know that whole fight, she stood up for a lot of it. To be fair, and showing that, you know what, her hands aren't the best, but they're reasonable. You know, for this low level of this division, she'll be fine, and I think she'll be fine again. But the one thing that she was really struggling was to get a takedown. She was really struggling to get the takedown. Obviously, with the lack of wrestling, just being jiu-jitsu, she was just struggling to get that takedown. I hope this training camp she's just been absolutely cluster fucking takedowns. Because not to forget, she only fought in March, and what is it? Start of March. What, exactly 2 months later she's fighting in Rio. So, you know, I know it's her somewhat of a hometown. I know she's lived there for a while. But honestly, I feel like if she can get the takedowns secured at this level of the strawweight division, she will be fine. But on the other hand, Amanda Cooper, you know, 3-3. Obviously not one of the best records, but I'll tell you one thing. I did see her fight. She fought at the end of last year against Angela. I'm gonna struggle to say her name. Angela Magna. I'll tell you one thing. It was a TKO win. And her stand up is very good. Okay, very good. It's good. It's good. It is. It is what it should be at this level of the UFC. Honestly, I feel like her stand up is fantastic. Is good, and it is obviously much better than Mackenzie's Dern. The only way I can see Amanda Cooper win this fight is by knocking, not knocking, but just keeping it standing up. And as long as her takedown defense is on point, she should be okay. But the problem with Mackenzie Dern is that they're not traditional takedowns. You know, obviously her coming from jiu-jitsu and her lack of wrestling, they're not the singles, they're not the double leg takedowns. One of the takedowns she went for was like real low on the ankle, like proper, you know, like jiu-jitsu level. And you go into like a heel cut hook from there, like that's her kind of takedown. So I don't know how her defense is on that. I know she's not the best on the ground, but I do know 100% her hands are very good, and she's very capable of knocking Mackenzie Dern out. But in that last fight, Mackenzie Dern did show a lot of heart. You know, she ate a lot of big shots from oh god, her name's blank. I mean, Ashley Yoder. So she took a lot of big shots in that fight. To be fair, she ate a lot of big shots, and she was just weathering the storm, and then towards the end of the round, getting a takedown and going for the submission attempt at the end. Yeah, I even though Amanda Cooper has the potential to knock Mackenzie Dern out, I do think Mackenzie Dern has worked on her wrestling. She'll get the takedown much easier this time. She's in Brazil. She's a bit of a Brazil native, you know, Brazilian and the US native. So I feel like she'll be fine. I can only see this being a win. Will she get the submission? I hope she does. I hope she does. If not, it'll be. I'm sorry. If not, it'll be a decision. But if she can get a submission, she just needs to get a takedown. She just needs to secure a decent takedown with enough time to get in a decent position and lock in a choke or a hold of some sort, and she'll be perfect. She'll be fine. She'll have no issues. And I can see her winning this fight. But yeah, so my money's on Mackenzie Dern, whether that be decision or submission. It'll be one of the two. I highly doubt she'll be knocking anyone out. But yeah, you fucking never know. You never know. But yeah, 100%. Mackenzie Dern to win that fight. And next we have the co-main event, which this co-main event is fantastic. I'm looking forward to this so much. We have Ronaldo Jacare Souza going against Kevin Gastelum. Let me just have a quick sip of water because my mouth is fucking just dry as all fuck. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we have the amazing Jacare Souza. 25 wins, only 5 losses. Out of his last, he fought once earlier this year, twice in 2017, and once in 2016. So not the most active fighter, but you know what? To be fair to him, when he comes and fights, he does put a decent show on. He does get the wins. In 2016, off a 6 months layoff loss. In 2015, I might as well start from there. So 2015, he lost to Yoel Romero and did a split decision, and then 6 months later came back and beat and knocked out Vitor Belfort within the first round. Then again, about 6 months later, in February 2017, he beat Tim Boetsch with a Kimura, and that's just him. He's just a beast on the ground. Then about February, March, April, so 2 months later, he had a loss to Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker being fucking the current middleweight heavy, current middleweight champion, you can't really, give him too much shit for that. Robert Whittaker was just on a flying, just in form, and well deserving of that belt. So that TKO loss, I believe, the head kick and punches. That was in April 2015, and then in this start of this year, we had January. We had a main event between Jacare and Brunson. It was part 2, and Jacare Souza beat Derek Brunson within the first round via head kick and punches. So honestly, he like I'm saying, he doesn't fight that often, but when he does, you see TKO win, submission win, TKO loss, and then a knockout. Jacare Souza is a motherfucking beast, and he's at the age of, how old is he? 38 years old, and he looks like an absolute tank as well. He's just got that big, typical middleweight, just muscle bound beast. Has got dynamite in his hands and in his kicks too. And if you get taken down, you're getting taken down by a fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. So yeah, good luck with that. On the other hand, we have Kevin Gastelum. 26 years old, much younger, with a record of 14 and 3 losses. Obviously, as we spoke about before, in 2017 he had that no contest, but it was a win. Don't forget, he beat Vitor Belfort. He only lost that purely because of the I got overruled because of the whole marijuana thing. Then in 2017 again, but in July, Chris Weidman beat him via arm triangle. And then he came back and he just beat Mike Bisping. Obviously, not 100% Mike Bisping. Mike Bisping didn't even go. He just had that war in Madison Square Garden with GSP for the middleweight belt, and I didn't even take any time off. Just jumped straight to fucking Shanghai to go take on Michael Bisping. Honestly, this is tough. I didn't think it would be. But I want to say that Kevin Gastelum only won that last fight purely because it wasn't 100% Mike Bisping. Obviously, it was a just come off a fucking loss to GSP, Bisping. Honestly, Kevin Gastelum used to fight at 170. He's now fighting at 185 against Jacare Souza, who is a big 185er. Now, I just feel like, as good as Kevin Gastelum is, I feel like Jacare's got this fight. Whether it goes to the ground, as good as Kevin Gastelum is on the ground, Jacare's got him. Jacare's got him on the hands and on the feet. Again, Jacare, I see Jacare being the slightly better striker. Now, don't get me wrong, Kevin Gastelum's more slick and fast, and he can feint and get those maybe. I just don't know who's going to be the aggressor in this fight. I really don't. Jacare Souza with knockout power in his hands, so he doesn't really need to charge down. And if Kevin Gastelum charges down, I don't feel like he just hasn't got. He's just too small to try and pressure Jacare Souza to do anything. And Jacare Souza's got those destroying leg kicks that if Kevin Gastelum gets close, you fucking bye, mate. He'll kick you fucking. He'll kick you hard enough for you to get that distance back. So honestly, I do see this as Jacare Souza win. 3 rounds. I do see a knockout. And you know what? Okay, I'll give you this. Fuck, I don't know. I honestly can see Jacare Souza winning this fight early. Within that first round, or within early in that second, Jacare Souza can easily knock out Kevin Gastelum or submit him, whatever he wants to do. But Jacare Souza being 38, his cardio is normally okay, but recently he hasn't really been pushed into the later rounds. He's been knocking people out so early, or been getting knocked out early. If this goes into the third round, and both fighters are tired, I feel like Kevin Gastelum could sneak a hook in there somewhere and potentially knock Jacare out. But that's the only way I see Kevin Gastelum win this fight, is in that last few rounds. Just because of cardio, he'll have the better cardio. He'll be able to put his pace on the fight. But will that third round be too late? Will he be knocked out by then, or will he be down, or will he already be down by 2 rounds? Who knows? But yeah, so early rounds of the fight, Jacare all day. That third round though, Kevin could potentially get something. That's my definitive answer. My definitive answer is 100% Jacare Souza, first or early second, 100%. If you don't agree with me on that one, I'll be saying Kevin Gastelum in the third round. But no, personally, I do think Jacare will get it done within that first round or two. And then the last fight that we have on this UFC pay-per-view is Nunes versus Raquel Pennington. Just want to get up their stats in a second. One sec. Here we go. So Amanda Nunes, the champ, 15 wins, 4 losses, is in probably the form of her life. Since her loss to Kat Zingano in 2014, she's gone on a 6-win streak, all the way to the belt, going through Sarah McMahon, Valentina Shevchenko, Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey, and then Valentina Shevchenko again. Honestly, the biggest test for Amanda Nunes was that Valentina Shevchenko fight the second time. The fact that she won that fight in a decision, in a split decision, it was such a fucking close fight. I did put doubts in my head, but honestly, oh shit, I'm just knocking shit over. Amanda Nunes is a beast. Don't get me wrong. Now, on the other hand, you got Raquel Pennington. 9-5. Her last fight was in 2016, which just, don't get me wrong, it was a win. And to be fair, she 2015. What was that? 3 years ago. She beat Jessica Andrade, but that's not the same Jessica Andrade that you're getting now. This Jessica Andrade, if Jessica Andrade and Raquel Pennington had that fight again, all day, that's Andrade's all day. Then she beat Jessica Andrade in September 2015. Beat Betchko Hayes April 2016. Beat Elizabeth Phillips in August 2016. And then beat Misha Tate in 2016 as well, in November, on the MSG card, the first one. That is such a long time to be out. I don't know why she hasn't fought. I don't know if she's had injuries. I don't personally know, but she's been out for such a long time. And to be at the octagon for that long, and to beat Misha Tate, who was already on her way out anyway, and then to come back and to fight for the women's bantamweight title is, I think that's ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, the fucking women's bantamweight isn't the best division at the moment, but I'm just gonna click on it now. So let me click on rankings. Here we go. I'm gonna read off the women's bantamweight contendership. Okay, how about this? So it goes: Amanda Nunes, obviously champion. Holly Holm first. Just, you know, she's not even in the division anymore. She's a 45er, so that just shows that. You got Raquel Pennington, who's fighting for the fucking belt. Juliana Pena, who's just had a baby recently, so she hasn't been that active. Caitlin Vieira, Jermaine Durandamy, who is, okay, she was a 145er, but I'm sure that her last fight was in 135, so fair play. But honestly, other than that, this is a tough division. You know, for God's sake, then the number one ranked woman to fight is not even in the division anymore. And the last woman that just fought for the belt is in the flyweight division. So like, it's fucking, I don't even know what to say, man. It is just a clusterfuck. It really is just a mess. The women's bantamweight division, honestly, is probably one of the weakest, if not the weakest, I've ever seen in the UFC. It's tough. Like, how is the number one contender not even fighting in the division anymore? She doesn't even fight 135 anymore. She fights 145. Come on now. It's ridiculous. But nevertheless, Raquel Pennington hasn't fought since 2016 and has stayed second in the division. So even that says so much. But nevertheless, just to get down to the prediction, honestly, I feel like this will be a short fight. You know, Raquel Pennington hasn't fought in 2 years. That's a long time. And to get thrown into that, to go to Brazil, fight in Brazil against Amanda Nunes, who's the champion, who just, you know, has beaten Misha Tate, Ronda Rousey, Valentina Shevchenko, even though it wasn't the most convincing, but, you know, nevertheless, she got the fucking win. She's going to struggle. She's 100% she'll struggle. This is going to be an early, I think, shades of Nunes, Rousey, where it's just Nunes just goes on the fucking front foot. She goes full lioness, fucking beast mode, and she gets the knockout very early. I think, again, in the first round, 100%, it'll be a knockout victory in the first round. Amanda Nunes has just been more frequent. She's been fighting top of the range people. You know, Raquel Pennington hasn't fought in 2 years. It doesn't even look good for Raquel Pennington. So, 100%, this is Amanda Nunes' fight to win. And that is my predictions. And that is my predictions for UFC 224. Honestly, a decent main card. Other than the main card, anything but the main card is terrible. But that main card is enough. You know, is decent enough to warrant any purchase of the pay-per-view. So, yeah, that honestly a fantastic card. And then also on, I think this is on the Saturday as well, which is weird. Yeah, it is on Saturday. So then we have Bellator 199, Bader versus King Mo. Obviously, the last fight in the first round of the heavyweight Grand Prix. But to be honest, this card it's okay. You know, on the main card, if you want to say it. You have Aaron Pico versus Lee Morrison. Obviously, Aaron Pico is just an absolute beast. If you don't know who he is, fucking YouTube this kid. He is fantastic. He is 2-1. He did lose his debut, but honestly, he is just, he trains at AKA. Daniel Cormier says he's one of the best wrestlers that he's met. Fucking Khabib, for God's sake, Khabib's there, and them two are going at it all the time. His last knockout victory was one of the most best. It was my knockout of the year last year. It was just pitch perfect right hook, and it just hit with so much precision and power that the guy was knocked out and froze in midair. And then just dropped to the canvas. It was beautiful. But anyway, I don't know much about Lee Morrison, but I just have Aaron Pico. Like, how can I not have Aaron Pico in that fight? We have Chet Congo versus Javi Ayala. Now that is the same guy that beats that had the loss to Matt Mitrione. He's 10-6, not the best record at heavyweight, against Chet Congo, who is just 27-10, way too old. Honestly, I don't have a prediction for this fight. I don't know too much about them. Probably Javi, just because he came out. His last fight was a win. I'm not sure who he beat, but his last fight was a win. Chet Congo just out of his prime. So that's that. We have John Fitch versus Paul Daly, which is just a phenomenal fight. I'll be watching this fight 100%. John Fitch made pink and brown shorts famous for fucking everyone. It was one of the most recognisable pieces of clothing in the UFC, 100%. That and the Iceman shorts, obviously. Fantastic, 13-7, going against Paul Daly, who's 40-15, for God's sake. These guys need to calm down. But John Fitch, he's been fighting all over the place. Well, not all over the place. He's fought his last fight in UFC was in 2013, and it was a loss to Damian Maia. And then after that, in 2013 to 2017, he's been fighting in World Series Fighting / PFL. It's the same division, they just changed the name. And got a win over Jake Shields and Brian Foster. Don't know too much about Brian Foster, but to get a win over Jake Shields isn't the worst thing in the world. That's a pretty decent accomplishment. Again, a World Series Fighter, not the best. It will be his first fight in Bellator. John Fitch is just such a legend, though. But and he has been active as well. His last fight only being in June 2017, so only a year off. Compared to Paul Daly, who is very fucking active. Had 3 fights in 2017, 1 win against Brennan Ward, and then a loss to Rory McDonald. But fucking Rory McDonald, like the best welterweight in the world. What do you expect? But obviously, again about a year ago. So, both fighters having the same amount of time off. You had Paul Daly beating Lorenz Larkin via TKO, and obviously it's a shame because I only follow the few Bellator fighters and stuff, but obviously I know Paul Daly from his UFC time and John Fitch from his UFC time as well, but Paul Daly from his UFC time and obviously watching him a bit in Bellator. I just want that him versus MVP. That's all I want. I want Paul Daly versus MVP, and I wanted it about a month ago. It's like, I need that fight. That fight should have happened so long ago, but nevertheless. I feel like this is Paul Daly's fight to win. Honestly, Paul Daly needs to prove himself. He's not on the best of terms with Bellator at the moment. I feel like he'll win that fight, and he'll win that fight because he needs to, and potentially go far in the division. And obviously the last card, I'm not even going to break this down too much, just because it's Ryan Bader versus Muhammad Law, or also known as King Mo. Honestly, seriously, not even going to break this down more. This is 100% Ryan Bader's win. Ryan Bader's got this wrapped up so easily. He's the better wrestler, he's the better striker. He's got it 100%. Don't even need to break it down. It's going to be a knockout win. It's going to be a win. Don't know how, probably knockout. Ryan Bader, 100%. If Muhammad Law pulls this off, fair fucking play to him. But honestly, Ryan Bader, beast. He's an absolute beast. Nothing more to say. He's going to win this fight, 100%. Vader, all the way, all the way, all the way. And that is it for Bellator 199, and that is it for the preview section. I've been rambling on for fucking way too long, but nevertheless, let's get down to the news. And fucking hell, I want to start off with this breaking news because it is madness. So earlier in the week, there was a lot of reports about Yair Rodriguez going against Zabit Magomed Sharipov. There we go. I've said it once at least. But no, the fight that they wanted to make was for the August 4th card in LA, which will be UFC 227, which is the same card as the Dillashaw Garbrandt rematch. So they were looking to do Rodriguez versus Zabit, but it came out early this morning, and this morning being the 11th of May. It came out that Dana White released a statement last night, so that being Thursday the 10th of May. Sorry about that. And it came out, I believe. I don't know who. Oh, so the interview was with the LA Times, and UFC president comes out in a Los Angeles Times late Thursday night interview that Rodriguez, who's considered to be one of the promotion's rising young talents, has been released from the UFC due to him refusing to accept a fight with Zabit Zabit. Now honestly, this is mad. I don't know how I feel about this, purely because, okay, you know what? Yeah, honestly, you've got to, that loss to Frankie Edgar was a beatdown. He got the piss beaten out of him. Don't get me wrong, and I understand him having a year or so off, but I don't know how I feel about this, because basically what the UFC is saying after doing this and saying that, oh, okay, if we put a contract in front of your face and you refuse it, we're gonna get rid of you. Now, people have refused fights before. That's why this is so interesting. Maybe it was the way it was just discussed or whatever. I don't understand what, but it was just maybe honestly, I don't even know, man. I don't know what's happened. It is. I don't even know what to say, man. It's baffled me. It really has. But nevertheless, fuck it. Let's just get into other piece of news, and that was earlier in the week. It was announced that ESPN and UFC have a new kind of like division, what's it called? Mind is completely blanking. No, it has they're gonna have a new like streaming service, and that being on ESPN Plus. So if I just want to quickly break this down, so ESPN Plus launched last month at a price of $4.99 per month. That is in dollars. So in this statement it says, addition to the 15 live events being dubbed as UFC on ESPN Plus fight nights, the UFC's deal with the ESPN also includes exclusivity to the Dana White's Contender Series, the one next year, not this year, so the one in June 2019. Exclusive pre and post event shows for all 15 live events. Access to UFC's full archive of programming, which is kind of similar to Fight Pass. A new and original all-access series produced by the UFC. And additional UFC branded content, including UFC countdown shows, press conferences, weigh-ins, and pre and post shows, will also be available to watch there. So basically, it's UFC Fight Night. Not UFC Fight Night, but just a much cheaper price. Honestly, for US lot, I think this is fun. I don't know, because it's going to be the way it's going at the moment. It's going to be an ESPN and a Fox split deal. So I do like the fact that you can go and stream it and you can watch it on anything and everything. I do like that, because the Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass just hasn't been selling well. It's just not a popular thing. And for this price range, this will sell 100%. Plus, it's a subscription to ESPN Plus, so you get in all your other sports in addition to your UFC. So honestly, this is just a win-win for UFC. I think it's a fantastic idea, to be fair. How it's going to affect people like me in the UK, seeing as that we get the UFC pay-per-views, any UFC card, we get it basically including our normal sports package deal. We don't need to pay for pay-per-views over here. Um, we get it on our normal, for example, for you US lot, your normal cable for provider. You know, that sports package that you get, your ESPNs, your Fox Sports. Our version of that in the UK is we get that, the UFC included, which is fucking fantastic. I can't moan for not having to pay for UFC. So no, so that's a bonus. I don't know how it's gonna affect people like us, but in terms of the US, this is fantastic. You know, just for the fact that they're doing a split deal as well, it just means more exposure, which is fantastic. So honestly, nothing but good things. And now we're going to have some fight announcements. I'll leave the two big ones till last. So the first one that we have is, now in the last podcast I completely fluffed this name. I said UFC No, I think I did say Boise. I'm going to say Boise, Idaho. It's so easy to say. I think I did fluff it in the last podcast, but nevertheless, we have the return of the amazing Chad Mendes versus Miles Fury. So this has been officially booked. It is a return of Chad Mendes on July 14th at UFC Boise. It is a fight night. Obviously Mendes coming back after making his 2-year suspension by USADA for a banned substance, I think he had. And don't forget, you know, when he got banned, you know, Mendes was on the cusp of the top. You know, he was there. He fought for the interim belt, and then he had a fight against Jose Aldo, I think I want to say. Maybe, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm sure he fought McGregor, and then let's just have a quick look. I'm sure he fought McGregor, and then either he was scheduled to fight I'm completely blanking. He's scheduled to fight Aldo, or he got banned in between that time. I honestly, for the life of me now, just can't fucking remember. Hold on, let's have a look. Chad Mendes. Oh no, sorry, Frank Edgar. Yeah, Frank Edgar. I remember that now. Yeah, so he lost to Connor in that interim belt fight, and then in 2015 he fought against Frank Edgar. So honestly, Chad Mendes and Miles Jury pretty even in terms of their record. How this fight's gonna go, I don't know. We'll break it down more of it, but I am excited to see Chad Mendes back. It's just an addition to this already amazing 145 division that Max Holloway is just beasting and feasting through. So to add Chad Mendes back in the mix is going to be a lot of fun. I'd love to see him against, you know, Josh Emmett, Jeremy Stevens, even Jose Aldo. So there'll be some amazing fights. Also, UFC Boise has been confirmed that we're going to have Paul Felder go against James Vick. Now this is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm a big fan of both. Obviously Paul Felder, amazing commentator, and James Vick just been beasting and feasting recently. Honestly, he's been on a tear. He's deserved a big opponent, but the problem is, and the only problem I have with this fight, I'm looking forward to it 100%. James Vick 100 million% deserves to get a top 10 at least. You know, he's 11th in the rankings. He deserves someone ahead of him personally, and Paul Felder's ranked 14th. Now, as good of a fight this is going to be, I really wish that James Vick would have got a fight with someone in the top 10. You know, he's been on an absolute tear, 4-fight winning streak. You know, he's just been, you know, he's just been fantastic. You know, I think he's only got one loss on the record. One loss. So 13 wins, one loss. That record in itself is fantastic. So it just goes to show that, you know, he shouldn't be fighting 14th ranked guys. But you know what? It's Paul Felder, so it's going to be a great fight. And that UFC Boise card looking pretty decent. Next piece of news we have is, okay, this is a big one to be fair. UFC Calgary. This card is just getting fucking bigger and bigger. I think it's gonna be the main event, and I think it is the main event. And the co-main of this Calgary card being fucking Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stevens, which fucking wow by that one. And then just to make it even better, yep, Alvarez Poirier Part 2. We're getting a rematch. Yes, 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 yes. A million fucking times yes. I'm so looking forward to this fight. It got confirmed yesterday. It's 100% happening. Oh, this is the fight that we've been leading up to. Alvarez coming off the Gaethje win. Poirier just fucking coming off the win of just... I don't know what to say about Dustin Poirier, man. He's been in the form of his life, to be fair. Nothing but amazing things to say about him. So that'll be on July 28th in UFC Calgary. I really do like this fight just because we did need, that last fight ending in such fucking confusion with the knee and then that bullshit. Honestly, this fight is just gonna be just how good that last fight was, and how this one's gonna be. Both of these fighters just coming in form as well. The circumstances going into the first fight, you had Alvarez who just came off the loss to Conor McGregor. And it wasn't even a loss. It was a bit of a beatdown, a bit of an embarrassment by Conor McGregor. He outschooled him. Alvarez just wasn't even in that fight. And Poirier was just about to, and he was just starting this amazing surgence with, him with hair for starters. And Justin Poirier with hair is one scary ass motherfucker. So he has been on a tear. I cannot wait for this fight to happen. Alvarez ranked 3rd in the division. Poirier ranked 4th. Oh, I just can't wait. 100% whoever wins this is getting the next title shot. I know it's confusing, but we'll break all that down properly when it gets to the time. But now, this is the big one. So, on the UFC Unfiltered podcast, a few days ago, Dana White was on there, and this is he broke 2 pieces of news that is just fucking amazing. The first piece is that they're in the works. It is currently under negotiation. They really want to get this fight done. Gustafsson versus Rockhold at light heavyweight. Oh, yes, yes, yes. 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 Give me more yes. Oh my fucking yes. 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 Fucking Gustafsson versus Rockhold. Oh my god. What a fight that would be. Especially at 205. Because Rockhold is a big 185. He's massive for that division. To see him in 205. Oh my fucking god. This is going to be one of the most anticipated fights of the year. But then... Oh, sorry. And that is, they want to get that done, hopefully, again, for that LA card. Which, fucking that LA card, it's going to look fantastic. It was the one that they tried to get Zabit and Yair Rodriguez on. It's obviously the one that's getting headlined by, like I said previously in the show, getting headlined by that big rematch between Garbrandt and Dillashaw. So they're looking to put Gustafsson and Rockhold on there. Oh, and GSP versus Nick fucking Diaz. Holy shit. But this is the... Now, this is the thing that I don't really get about this fight. They're doing GSP versus Nate Diaz, and they're looking to really get this done. They really are. They really, really are looking to get this done. At 155, though. Now... You've had GSP that hasn't fought in how long? He just fought at 185, and now you want him to get to 155. I think if this fight goes down at 155, GSP ain't making weight. 100% he's not going to make weight, and he probably won't even be allowed to. Obviously with the UFC having the early, they do the little screenings at the start of the week, and they find out if it's even safe for you to cut down to this weight, and even if your body can do it safely. I don't think he will be able to do it. I think doing this fight, as much as I want this fight so badly, doing this fight at 155 is just dangerous. It really is. I need another drink of water. Honestly, it's just dangerous, man. And I wish they wouldn't do it. I wish they'd just do it at 170. Nick Diaz has fought at 170 many a times. GSP's fought at 170. Obviously, he was a champion at that division. It just makes sense to do it at that weight class. I don't know why they would want to do it at 155. Maybe that's what's holding us back. But the return of Nick Diaz against GSP. There's just so many stories going into that fight. I do want that fight, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about it being at 155. But yeah, that is it for the news and confirmed and just rumoured upcoming fights. What a podcast this has been. Hope you all enjoyed the breakdown of UFC 224 and sorry about that. Fucking hell, just cough straight into the mic. Yeah, wicked. And the quick review of Bellator 199. Obviously, next week we'll be breaking down those fights, all the ones that I spoke about, the Bellator ones, the UFC ones. We'll be breaking them down. And yeah, I'm excited. UFC's finally back. Feels like we haven't had UFC in fucking weeks. I want to thank you for listening. Shout me a tweet at the MMA Take on Twitter. Obviously, all the links in the description are down below. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Obviously, that YouTube channel right now is just absolutely cracking. We've got UFC 3 Ultimate Team, UFC 3 Career Mode. Just a load of shit. And obviously, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're watching this, please do give us a like or a comment or a positive review. It helps so much. So if you are enjoying this podcast, please do show your appreciation and give me some nice feedback. And yeah, this has been the 3rd episode of the MMA Take podcast. I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.